A headline meeting between two eras has quietly reshaped the conversation around women's basketball, cross-sport marketing, and what it takes to build a modern sports brand. Multiple industry sources confirm that Caitlin Clark spent time with Michael Jordan at Grove 23, the ultra-exclusive golf club he built in Hobe Sound, Florida. On the surface, it was a low-profile off-season appearance. In practice, it was something far bigger, a blueprint for how a WNBA star leverages on-court excellence into long-term influence across sports and business. For fans of the WNBA and women's basketball more broadly, this is a powerful signal. Jordan, widely regarded as the greatest men's basketball player of all time, does not open his inner circle casually. An invitation to Grove 23 is less about tee shots and more about access. Access to conversations with Nike executives, access to a network of owners and operators, and access to a strategic playbook that has defined sports marketing for 3 decades. When Jordan takes a personal interest in an athlete's growth, it tends to mark a turning point. And this one arrives as women's sports viewership, attendance, and sponsorship value accelerate at record pace. Grove 23 is not a typical celebrity hangout. Opened in 2019, the 18-hole course and its minimalist, tech-forward infrastructure reflect Jordan's obsession with precision. Members play a routing designed for shot-making. Refreshments famously arrive by drone. The carbon fiberglass clubhouse looks like it was engineered for speed. The guest list reads like a who's who of championship pedigree and corporate influence. To receive a call to Grove 23 is to be identified as someone who belongs in rooms where 7- and 8-figure decisions get made. Clark didn't get there by accident. She got there because of basketball excellence and a professional approach that has resonated across the industry. According to people familiar with the visit, Jordan didn't treat the appearance as a photo op. He walked the course with Clark, not simply offering tips, but sharing the mindset that builds durable brands. How to protect your core, how to expand thoughtfully, and how to ensure that what you stand for on the court shows up in every partnership you sign. When the GOAT talks about legacy, it's never just about the next season, it's about the next decade. Nike golf executives were part of those conversations. Timing matters here. Before Clark's announcement about a golf partnership reached the public, planning was already underway for a cross-sport rollout that would respect her basketball commitments while introducing her to golf audiences the right way. The conversations at Grove 23 weren't limited to endorsement dollars. They covered brand architecture, basketball at the center, golf as a complementary lane, and community leadership and business initiatives built around authenticity rather than spectacle. It's the same structure Jordan used to scale himself from generational player to generational enterprise, adapted for a modern, digital age and a women's sports landscape with momentum. The early results showed up immediately. When the LPGA announced Clark's participation in the Pelican Golf Club Pro-Am and paired her with world number 1 Nelly Korda, the move landed exactly as intended. It was a masterclass in event design. Golf's leading star alongside one of the most magnetic athletes in sports. The Golf Channel adjusted programming to carry Clark's range session and opening holes, unusual for a Pro-Am, and the response was measurable. Streams spiked, clips trended, coverage expanded beyond golf outlets into national sports shows that have spent the past year tracking Clark's every milestone from Iowa to Indiana. For the LPGA, this wasn't a cameo, it was a strategic entry point to a new audience. The reaction from players reinforced the value. Annika Sorenstam, the most decorated women's golfer in history, praised Clark's poise under pressure and the enthusiasm she brought to the event. Nelly Korda talked about Clark's energy, her willingness to learn, and the crossover competitive drive she recognized instantly. Other LPGA players, Brittany Lincecum, Andrea Lee, Megan Kang, and Marina Alex, welcomed the attention Clark delivered to their field and, more importantly, the way she respected the sport. This is what leagues and athletes want from cross-promotion: genuine engagement, not a gimmick. By contrast, social media turned into a second screen of scrutiny. Angel Reese, one of Clark's most visible contemporaries, posted, "I can play golf too," just as news of Clark's multi-year LPGA deal broke online. The timing guaranteed maximum reach. The message felt intentionally provocative. Fans and media read that line against the broader backdrop of how both athletes managed their brands. The replies were swift and, in many cases, unforgiving. While Clark was walking fairways with the Jordan Nike apparatus discussing brand strategy, Reese was on X and Instagram. Some fans defended the right to speak up. Many more saw the post as another example of chasing the conversation rather than setting it. It's important to say this clearly. Women's basketball has room for multiple stars. The WNBA is healthiest when rivalries are real and when personalities have distinct lanes. But there is also a lesson here about optics and timing. In an era where social sentiment can influence ad buys, league programming, and sponsor confidence, online commentary that looks reactive or petty can backfire. Athletes control the perception of their own momentum. Clark's offseason has been a case study in aligning performance, message discipline, and strategic partnerships. The LPGA recognized that formula immediately and built around it. Many WNBA fans and a fair number of marketers took note. Back to the golf course, because the details matter. This wasn't a celebrity stroll. Observers on the ground at Grove 23 described Clark's swing as clean, repeatable, and competitive. The same hand-eye coordination and balance that fuel her stepbacks translate to golf when the fundamentals are respected. That matters for brand credibility. In a space where consumers have finely tuned radar for inauthentic endorsements, a sweet swing and obvious reps go a long way. Clips of Clark flushing a mid-iron tell a simple story. She didn't just throw a logo on a polo, she put in work. That is the kind of authenticity Jordan prioritizes and protects. The marketing outcomes were immediate and layered. For the LPGA, pairing Clark with Korda created a narrative beyond a single pro-am. Excellence recognizes excellence. For Nike, having photos of Clark with kids wearing her signature shoes at a private course associated with Jordan reinforced the family of brands tying basketball to golf organically. For the WNBA, the optics were a reminder of an ongoing challenge: how to fully capitalize on the Clark effect within league programming rather than watching other properties do it first.
This is a tough truth for WNBA loyalists who want the league to maximize every opportunity. The numbers tied to Clark over the past 2 years are well documented. Record viewership spikes at Iowa, surging attendance on the road with Indiana, social metrics that rival the NBA's biggest names. The league has absolutely benefited in ratings and digital engagement. But there remains a sense among media buyers and brand executives that the WNBA hasn't always moved fast enough to build full-scale platforms around the momentum. The LPGA's rapid deployment around Clark's involvement is a template many think the WNBA can replicate more aggressively heading into the next 2 seasons. None of this diminishes what Clark still needs to do on the court. If anything, Jordan's mentorship reinforces it. His message has always been simple: build everything on performance. The conversations at Groove 23, according to those familiar, leaned into that philosophy. Jordan emphasized the durability of earned respect and the dangers of chasing attention. He logged personal experience, navigating Nike in the late 80s, shaping the Jumpman brand in the 90s, taking ownership and investment positions in the 2000s, to illustrate that patience and clarity outlast every news cycle. Clark was there to listen. The substance of her comments in recent months on leadership styles, on learning teammates' personalities, on the difference between critique and criticism, suggests she's internalizing that guidance. There's also the business reality of Jordan's network. Groove 23 is where team owners, media executives, and investment principals talk without microphones. One round can create introductions that change the arc of a career. For a WNBA star entering her prime, those rooms matter. They accelerate conversations about equity stakes, production partnerships, and community initiatives. They open pathways to build generational wealth in ways that align with the athlete's values. It's not about chasing a quick bag, it's about constructing a platform that funds work on and off the court for decades. That long view is why the golf component was never just a headline. The reported value of Clark's golf partnership in the first cycle, $6 to $8 million over 2 years with Nike-adjacent tie-ins, speaks to an ecosystem that believes in her crossover potential. The execution around that deal, pro-am placements, content programming, instruction clinics, and charity integrations, suggests the LPGA intends to keep her present but not overexposed. For Clark, the key is balance. Embrace the opportunity, but schedule ruthlessly around fever commitments. If she gets that right, 2026 in particular looks like an inflection point. Year 3 in the league with a mature roster in Indiana, a fully built-out marketing platform, and a global audience already trained to tune in. Which brings us back to the WNBA. The opportunity in front of the league is to make Clark with Jordan less of an outlier and more of a standard. That means leaning into cross-sport collaboration, co-producing content with partners like the LPGA, and formally integrating off-season development stories into league platforms. It means investing in shoulder programming that treats women's basketball stars as year-round cultural figures. It means building measurables around the Caitlin Clark effect so that other players can plug into the same marketing pipelines with confidence. There are plenty of athletes ready to ride the wave. Asia Wilson, Brianna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu, Nafisa Collier, and a rising generation behind them. The league doesn't have to choose one star, it has to choose a strategy. As for the online drama, perspective helps. Social media commentary will never disappear from the women's basketball discourse. Rivalries fuel interest, and fans love stakes. But the athletes who thrive the longest tend to align their public voice with their private work. Jordan's influence on Clark is a masterclass in that alignment. She is keeping the main thing the main thing. Her feed reflects her gym, her teammates, and her growth. The rest of the conversation takes care of itself. On the ground, the response to Clark's presence at LPGA events is a reminder of something that should energize every WNBA supporter. She brings new eyes to women's sports, full stop. Tournament directors talked openly about sellouts on weekdays because of a basketball player's pro-am tee time. Reporters who don't normally cover golf requested credentials. Local news dispatched crews because their viewers were asking for Clark content. That is not a threat to the WNBA. It's a rising tide that the league can tap into with the right programming. Sponsors see it clearly. Corporate partners lined up at the LPGA to attach to Clark not because of golf alone, but because of what she represents: authentic excellence, broad cultural reach, and a fan base that translates across platforms. The same calculus will continue in the WNBA. Brands will build multi-property activations that run from May to October and back through the off-season. The key for every stakeholder is to steward that interest responsibly, protecting players' health, respecting team priorities, and building narratives that celebrate the whole league, not just one storyline. None of this is easy. The pace of change in women's sports in the past 24 months is without precedent. Leagues, teams, networks, and brands are iterating in real time. There will be missteps. But the core lesson from Clark's offseason is encouraging. When athletes focus on their craft, choose partners who share their values, and expand deliberately, the market responds. When legends like Michael Jordan invest their time and social capital in the next generation, it accelerates the timeline. The outcome is bigger than any one endorsement or viral moment. It's the normalization of women athletes as multi-industry leaders. Caitlin Clark has never pretended otherwise. Asked recently about why she plays, she didn't cite records or point totals. She talked about joy. The joy she feels playing and the joy she hopes she gives to people who show up and watch. She talked about leadership, meeting people where they are, adjusting how she communicates, learning teammates' personalities so she can bring out the best in them. Those are the habits that show up in winning locker rooms and in sound boardrooms. Those are the habits that make a Groove 23 invitation feel less like a surprise and more like the next logical step.
For women's basketball fans, the roadmap is clear. The 2026 Indiana Fever project is intriguing for basketball reasons alone. A young core, a star with a full WNBA offseason to build chemistry, a coaching staff with time to install and refine. Layer the branding element on top, and the potential multiplies. Ticket demand will continue to surge. National windows will stay high. Off-day content will matter as much as game recaps. If the Fever and the WNBA align their messaging and marketing with Clark's cross-sport reality, basketball at the center, with smart integrations around golf and community work, the runway is long. The other half of the equation is cultural. Too often, women's sports are framed as a zero-sum fight for attention. They don't have to be. The LPGA's embrace of Clark is a case study in collaboration rather than competition. The WNBA can return the favor by amplifying LPGA majors during season lows, sharing platforms, and building creative crossover events that put athletes in unfamiliar but welcoming settings. The point is not to turn basketball players into golfers or vice versa. The point is to show that elite athletes can sit comfortably in more than one space without diminishing their primary sport. A final note on Jordan, because his role in this story has weight. He has a history of seeing around corners. He saw what Kobe Bryant would become long before the rings piled up. He respected LeBron James's ambition to be more than a player when many dismissed it. He has quietly invested in the women's game through product, content, and advisory work for years. His willingness to spend time with Clark suggests he sees the same spark. Not hype, not controversy, substance. A player who can command the ball in the fourth quarter and a room in a board meeting. A pro who is already acting like a CEO. That is the real headline of Clark's offseason. Not a single swing at an exclusive course, but a swing in how women's sports are perceived and built. The greatest men's basketball player ever is betting time, relationships, and playbook on the idea that a WNBA star can build the strongest brand in women's sports by being exactly what she already is, a relentless competitor, a thoughtful leader, and an authentic presence. It's a bet the LPGA has already validated. It's a bet the WNBA can ride to new heights if it chooses to. As the Fever's next season approaches and Clark's calendar fills, one thing is certain. The conversation around women's basketball is no longer confined to the court. It includes the fairway in Hobie Sound, the corridors of Nike's campus, the production schedules at national networks, and the calendars of sponsors looking to reach a demographic that's finally getting the respect it deserves. If you care about the WNBA, that should feel less like a distraction and more like a win. The game is bigger, the platform is wider, and one of its brightest stars just received a masterclass from the man who wrote the modern playbook. Stay tuned for how Indiana and the league shape the next chapter. If the offseason is any indication, the story is getting smarter, faster, and more ambitious. Exactly what fans have been asking for.